Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Happy 80th birthday today to George Clinton of Parliament Funkadelic. I spoke with the funk legend in 2015 about his influential career, from Flashlight to Atomic Dog. Thanks so much for joining us.
Glad to talk to you.
You and Howard Theater, you guys go way back.
Oh, yeah, we go way back to the doo-wop days. We played the Howard starting back in the day, 1967, when I Want to Testify, and we opened it back up when they just recently opened it a couple of years ago.
What makes that venue so special?
Like the Apollo Theater, the Uptown Theater, the Royal, and the Howard, that's that. We used to call it, the just Chitlin Circuit or the Soul Circuit. When you get a big record, you have to play all of those places. Those are the main theaters in those cities.
Right.
And so Howard was like, that was the epitome of doo-wop back in the day.
Definitely. A lot of people may not even remember that you got started in doo-wop. Take me back to your roots.
I was born in North Carolina, but I was raised in New Jersey. And I heard Frankie Lyman, and I wanted to be one of those guys. I wanted to be one of those doo-wop singers, rock and roll singers in 1956.
Do you remember where you were when you heard Frankie Lyman? Was it Why the Fools Fall in Love, or what was the song?
I was Why the Fools Fall in Love. I was in Newark. And you heard it every day, all day, and then you heard a group on every corner. Everybody wanted to be a doo-wop group.
So you put together the Parliament?
Yep, we put together Parliaments and we went to the Apollo Theater and won the amateur hour. and we just went on from there until Motown came along 2 years later. We started being a part of that. I wrote songs for Supremes, the Jackson 5, and then Parliament had their own hit record with I Want to Testify.
Man, what did you write for the Supremes and Jackson 5?
Well, the Supremes did one called I'm Into Something I Can't Shake or Loose. It's on the Love Child album.
Awesome.
And Michael Jackson did I Bet You.
Man.
One of the songs that Funkadelic did.
Man, oh man, that's crazy that you were writing for all that. I mean, you're a legend yourself, but you're writing for other legends, and I guess that's sort of how you learn the ropes.
That's how you learn.
You said you won amateur hour at the at Apollo Theater. Do you remember what you guys performed?
Oh yeah, somebody's fooled by the heartbeats.
What was the react? Did the place just go crazy? Talk about when you guys won that thing.
Yeah, well, we were pretty clownish too. It's a love song, but we always clown everything. We had wigs. So yeah, we had them all cracking it.
That's hilarious. How did you sort of, obviously there was, James Brown, Sly Stone, and some others there along with yourself, but how did you take that whole Motown era that you were talking about and then sort of bring it into the next phase of funk that you started pioneering in the 70s? What do you think it was that helped bridge that transition?
Well, the fact that England was coming back over here with the rock and roll that we had done in the early 50s, that the black music had done in the 50s. Mm-hmm. When I saw that happening, I knew we had to compromise what, Motown was doing, because Motown was almost 10 years old, about 68, 69. I could tell then that it was changing. So we just mixed Motown with the rock and roll, the Rolling Stones, Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, all them were doing. Mm-hmm. We just mixed that R&B of Motown with that, and you come up with something pretty funky. And that's what Funkadelic was, loud Motown. And then a little later, Bootsy come along, and he brings Fred Wesley and Maceo, the horn players from the JBs. So now we add horns to it, so you get a Sly Stone, James Brown ingredients added to that mix, and you got what we call P-Funk.
I love it. When you say P-Funk, a lot of people right away think of the song P-Funk, wants to get funked up.
Yeah, well, all of that from Chocolate City on, that first album with Bootsy with us, the Mothership Connection, that was what we considered P-Funk, that Motown and psychedelic with horns. Mm-hmm. And so you get We Want Funk, Tanner Roof Off, Star Child, you get all those kind of songs.
All that stuff, yeah.
And then you can go into the jazz of Three Blind Mice, Funkadelic.
Take me to where you were when you came up with Flashlight.
Oh, Oh, we was on a roll then, after for Flagstaff, we had done, Mothership Connection, Chocolate City, Bootsy. We was on the roll with the Mothership, which is in the Smithsonian, by the way.
By the way.
We was on a roll, so it was just, when you're on a roll, you're in that, what they call a zone.
Mm-hmm.
Everything you do is cool. Everything you do is all right. So we just said, flashlight. We just make up a word and just do a song about it. Shine the light on your funk. We could do no wrong at that time. So, but once we did it, was on that road, the idea of using Bernie to play the bass as opposed to Bootsy, even though it was a Bootsy track, Bernie was a brand new sound to use a Moog for the bass. So that's how that song, just came about.
Awesome.
And like I said, we was on that road. Everything we did was working.
Right, because I think either that same year or right after that was Aqua Boogie.
Yep, and then Knee Deep.
Yeah, you guys just kept rattling them off.
Bootsy, Horny Horns, The Brides of Funkenstein, Parliament.
In case some of our listeners are, maybe they've heard of you and they've heard of Parliament Funkadelic, but explain to them how it was sort of like two sister groups, right? You had Parliament and
it started out just a singing group, doo-wop in the 50s.
Right.
It was just a 5-man stand-up singing group.
Mm-hmm.
And then, in the 60s, when musicians started becoming popular bands.
Right.
Guitar players, drummers. So we had our younger brothers and, cousins, they playing with us as our backup band. And when we couldn't use our name, as most groups get into legal trouble with record companies, we couldn't use the name Parliament. We took the band and called them Funkadelic. We became their backup singers.
Gotcha.
They were our backup band. We became their backup singers. So with good old funky music, that was the beginning of Funkadelic, with the Parliament singing backups, singing. That's how you got two groups, and then we called it the Parlor Funkadelic Mint Thing.
It's awesome. It's all awesome. What you mentioned, Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. Also, everyone knows, give up the funk, we want the funk. Everyone, it's almost that sort of line echoes down through the generations. Doesn't matter how old you are, you've heard that song somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, including the hip hop era, a Cube and Dre, Snoop, all of them sampled "We Want the Funk" and Atomic Dog.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg. When he does that, it's Atomic Dog. It's the same thing.
Yeah. I did a lot of stuff with those guys.
Did Snoop come to you to cover Atomic Dog, or how does?
Well, Dre did. Dre asked me the same way he asked me. I did Tupac. He asked me to do Tupac, and then recently I just did Kendrick Lamar, to Pimp a Butterfly.
Oh, okay, yeah, the most recent one. He just played at Kennedy Center, believe it or not. He did a whole big show at Kennedy Center. Yeah,
so he's the one now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I did the title song of that album. I did that with him, and he did one with me. Ain't That Funkin' Kind of Hard on You? Him and Ice Cube just did that with me.
What was it like working with Kendrick Lamar?
It's a cool little dude, bright. It's just like when we first started working with the Bootsy, all those talented type people. Mm-hmm. But he's real smart. He learned a lot from all the people that went before him. He's got a very good head on his shoulder. And he's out of Compton, so he got all the NWA ingredients in him. At the same time, he got a lot of P-Funk in him. Him and Flying Lotus, all of those people, that new generation has really got the funk in them.
Definitely. I mean, you mentioned NWA, which is huge now with the movie coming out and everything. Everyone's sort of interested in their music all over again all these years later.
Yeah.
What was it?
Yeah, and most of that music is ours in that movie. And again, we're not getting paid for it, so we are fighting, not Cube and Dre, but we're fighting the Universal and all the publishing houses, because all the music in the whole movie basically is ours. The whole thing is based on Funkadelic, Parliament.
Because they're using those guys' songs, but since it was sort of sampling your stuff, you think you guys should get a cut of it? That's what you're saying?
Oh, yeah. We've never been paid for that music since they put it out between the record company now. Q paid me himself on a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. But the record companies and the publishing companies, they haven't paid any of us. Matter of fact, they've taken our names off of a lot of the songs, and you get names like Bain and Crane on people instead of the people that wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't even know who Bain and Crane is.
Right.
So we got FBI looking into that.
Which specific songs are in the movie that might be, or that Snoop and Dre and them did? Which ones did you collaborate on with them?
Well, I collaborated with Snoop. You know, it's Snoop Doggy Dogg. I collaborated with him personally on that, and in Tupac's "You Can't See Me."
Oh, man.
I did that. You know, live. It wasn't a sample, but I did a lot of stuff with them live. But most of the samples, people have been sued in my name. Over 1,000 people have been sued in my name, and I'm not even the one that sued them.
Right, I gotcha. Well, all the legal stuff aside, hope you get all that worked out. But just in terms of working with them as artists, tell me a little bit about what it was like working with Tupac first, and then Snoop.
Well, I mean, Tupac was cool. I knew him from the Digital Underground, so it was always easy to work with him.
Right.
Snoop was easy to work with, because Dre called me up, and that was real easy. Cube was probably the easiest of all because I worked with him so many times. Mm-hmm. He did videos and records of mine. I did same for him. Matter of fact, he just did the new record with me and Kendrick Lamar. He just did the remix of that in himself, and he did the video.
Do you take certain pride that, because there's a lot of artists that have come and gone. Let's say that, they probably came up right when you did, but they've disappeared over the years. But do you take sort of pride that so many of these, newer artists keep bringing your stuff back and that you're still so relevant? And even in Kendrick Lamar, the hottest music today, you're still that relevant?
Yeah, well, I tried to make sure that I was by staying in touch with all the new stuff that comes out.
Right.
I try to see what they're doing and be a part of it, as opposed to being afraid that they're moving me out. I try to help them, and that way that keeps me around.
It's kind of mutually beneficial. It's instead of fearing that they're going to move you out, like you said. You're gonna stay part of all this.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people should learn, that don't fear each other. Try to help each other. That helps you stay around. But the natural order of things, people say you're old school, he's new school, and blah, blah. You get afraid of that, and you want to fight back, and all you're doing is removing yourself by being upset. You just remove yourself. You won't be able to understand what it is that they're doing new. You won't like it at all because it's moving you out. It sounds elementary, but if you pay attention, you realize that all our music was elementary in the beginning. And it always goes back to that elementary, from the bow, 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 to the spitting the beat. It's all kiddie music.
That's true. And so don't fear it, embrace it. There really is no time if you really think about it. There's no past, there's no present. It's all cycle. It's
all around in a cycle all the time. And if you don't waste your energy worrying, that makes you old for real.
So is that the secret to staying young right there?
Yeah, don't waste no energy on no bullshit.
And I love how all these different genres are sort of, you guys brought together so many different sounds, and Dre and Snoop on the one hand, but didn't you also produce for the Chili Peppers?
Yeah, I did the Chili Peppers, Freaky Styley. Mm-hmm. That was our brothers from L.A., and they was funky rock and roll band.
See, you can do it all.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, we just did Ain't That Funkin' Kinda Hard on You with Kendrick Lamar and Ice Cube. We also did a mix of it with Louis Vega, which, electronic things, and soul clap.
What would you say the state of funk music is today? Everybody walking down the street knows every single word to Uptown Funk, Bruno Mars. But what is George Clinton's take on funk today?
Well, it's happening. I mean, with Kendrick Lamar's album right now is funk as you gonna get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That I'm mad. I got a bone to pick, and I don't want you monkey my throne again. That's some funky. I mean, it's straight out of James Brown's book of music, but you can't get no funkier than that.
I love it.
Uptown is, definitely kept it alive and got the pop version, but you got a lot of hip hop and electronic music that's dabbling into the funk now.
Yeah, your ripple effect just keeps going out and out and out.
Oh yeah, funk is forever move. It's ever coming. It's never going anywhere.
And we owe you, all of us who love music, owe you a great deal for that. So thank you.
And tell everybody, be sure to check out the book, Brothers Be Yo Like George. Ain't that funkin' kind of hard on you? It's the book on my life story.
Did you write it, or did write it with someone else? Or
I wrote it. Me and Ben, a guy named Ben. We wrote it, and it's out there now. Check that out. It's the history. You can download it. That's the easiest way because they keep being sold out. Mm-hmm. But you can download it. It is definitely the story of the P-Funk history. It's very worthwhile.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the heads up on the book, and thanks for taking the time to talk about your career. It's really a legendary career, so we really appreciate you taking the time, Mr. Clinton.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.